If your power socket is not working and you checked everything mentioned in the first video, there is a couple more things you can check yourself, but you're going to need a multimeter, or a test light at least. To put it simply, the fuse is placed in between the battery and the power socket. So if we check for power at the fuse, we can narrow down which part of the circuit has failed. Is it before the fuse, is it after the fuse, or is it the fuse itself? Set your multimeter to DC voltage. Touch the negative side of the battery with your black lead and the positive side with the red lead to see what the voltage is at the battery. Now, on some cars, sockets are powered all the time, even when the key is off. Others only when the key is on. So if you're not sure which one you have, turn the key on. Next, keep your black lead at the negative side of the battery and use your red lead to touch the leads at the top of the fuse. You're supposed to have battery voltage on both sides. That means battery power gets to the fuse. If one side of the fuse has power and the other side shows nothing, your fuse must be defective because it is not letting the power through. So replace your fuse. If both sides have power, that means battery power gets to the fuse, gets to the other side of the fuse, and getting lost somewhere after the fuse, between the fuse and the socket. In which case, you can start by checking power and ground at the socket, red lead to the brass center, black lead to the casing. My socket is working, so I have battery voltage here. But if you get nothing, remove the socket and check for power and ground at the connector. If you're not sure how to remove a socket, usually there is a couple of plastic tabs on the inside of it, located opposite from each other. They need to be pushed out, and the socket will slide out. See if a wire broke off or the connector feels loose. Make sure the pins are not bent or broken. If everything appears to be intact, check the voltage at the connector. Here I'm using a cheaper and more common version of a multimeter. Turn it on, set it to DC voltage, 20 volts. Red lead plugs into multipurpose port with a V for measuring voltage. Black lead plugs into COM port for common ground. There are two wires coming in. Black is usually ground, the other one will be power. But it doesn't really matter because if you touch them in reverse, the multimeter reading will just be negative. If you see voltage at the connector, your socket must be bad because it's not letting voltage through. If you get no voltage, you can inspect your wires further back behind the panel, but most likely you're going to need a wiring diagram to see where they go. Final piece of advice: watch out for anything aftermarket installed in your car. A technician could have tapped into a power socket wire and damaged it. I do have a video on how to splice wires together if that's what you find. So these are the 3 things you can check yourself when your power socket is not working but the fuse looks good visually. As always, the links to the products you saw will be in the description. If the video was helpful, please give it a thumbs up, share your experience and feedback in the comments below. Thank you for watching, good luck and take care.